Welcome to episode 8 of Around the AJHL. I'm Nathan Crosby from the Brooks Bandits with Brandon Cheshin of the Spruce Grove Saints. We got a very busy episode, lots to talk about. And we also have a great guest today, Brandon, captain of the Bandits, Taylor Mccarr, will be joining us in a few minutes. But before we get to him, there is so much to discuss. It's a crazy time right now in the league, but we're moving on. We're going to have 2 more weekends of hockey, which is great. I think the big news from this week, Brandon, was seen on Wednesday that the league announced that May 9th is the final day of the schedule this year. That is when they will wrap things up. Your thoughts on things as we head into the final 2 weeks here?
I think it's great that we got to play as long as we did, to be completely honest. I think it's a testament to the league and the job that they've done. They've been thrown some curveballs at the 11th hour that they've had to deal with very professionally, and they continue to make the right decisions to allow us to keep playing. And now that there is an end date in sight, I think it might be, you can look at it both ways, where it's a sigh of relief, where we made it this far, we played some games, let's go home, let's reset, refresh, come back in September and cross our fingers that things will be a little bit better. But then it's also tough for these guys because they've been around their teammates and the staff for so long now, 3-4 months, and now they got to leave them and go home, as it usually is at the end of the season. So you look at it from both sides, but at the end of the day, I think we're very happy that we got to play as long as we did, and that the league did a very good job juggling this disaster of a year in the world and putting some AJHL hockey on the ice.
I was talking to Sean Chisholm earlier this week, by the way, AJHL Player of the Week. Congratulations to him. He had a 5-goal night on last Friday versus the Crusaders, which unofficially is a team record. I'm right now going through I'm going through old game sheets from the year 2000, 2001 to see if a Bandit has ever scored 5 in a game. So that's what I've been up to. But I was talking to him and asking him, how all this feels. And he's like, well, at least this year, now they know the end date, so they can kind of prepare for that final game. For him, it'll be his final game with Brooks. Whereas last year, the Vets were robbed of that because the Bandits played their final regular season game and then had to bye through the first round, and then the season was canceled. So there was never that proper send-off.
Yeah, for sure. And you could say the same thing on this side of the province and the other teams throughout the whole league, where the Saints finished off a series on a Friday night and they were not set to play till the next Friday. And sometime in that week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, things got shut down. So how would you be able to predict that from the previous Friday? So yeah, it's tough. And you look at all the 20-year-olds, and that's what they live for, to win in their 20-year-old season and go off into the sunset type of thing. And just to be robbed of that closure, knowing it's your final game, it's not nice to really think about. It kind of puts a bit of a pit in your stomach, and it's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of these players. And even as a staff last year, I'm sure that you could attest to this, where you were so amped, you were so excited for playoff time. You get just as much invested into it as the players to a certain degree, and to have that taken away from you and the rug pulled out from under your feet, it really sucked, to be honest, for everybody involved.
Absolutely. I have so much respect for the players in this league and the coaching staff for what they've been through this year, mainly the players. I mean, it's been a week on, week off thing. They're trying to stay mentally focused. They don't know about the weekend, if they're going to play or not. But when they get the green light, we have seen some fantastic hockey in this return to play. So I tip my hat to all the players in this league, gutting it through what has been just an unprecedented season in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. And we feel for the teams that had to shut down early. Fort McMurray having a terrific year, and with this, the state of emergency in that city that's happening right now, of course, our hearts go out to everyone in Fort Mac. Hope everyone's staying safe up there. Obviously, it was the right call for the Oil Barons to conclude their year. Camrose last week, they had to conclude their season. Okotoks and Drum, that cohort never happened because there was we saw some positive tests there. So right now, Brandon, we're down to 3 cohorts left going into these final 2 weeks. The Bandits will face the Olds Grizzlies, Sherwood Park will play Grand Prairie, and Spruce Grove versus Drayton Valley, and then we're done.
Yeah, exactly. And just going back to what you said about the players and what they've had to go through this season, I think that's just a testament to the character of players that are in this league and how professional they carry themselves despite only being 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. They all carry themselves with that level of professionalism and kind of rolled with the punches this year as it was so uncertain from week to week.
Brandon, let's shift some focus now and talk about some of the positive things happening with, tied to our league. We got to talk about the World Under-18s down in Texas right now. Corson Kuhlmans of the Bandits is there. Canada out to a great start. I mean, that's kind of an understatement as they blew the doors off Sweden on Tuesday night in that 12-1 victory. A closer second game against Latvia. Latvia almost gave them a bit of a scare. A 4-2 win for Canada, setting up this weekend. They'll play the Swiss on Friday night, and they'll wrap up the round robin with Belarus on Saturday. But it's been a lot of fun to watch on TSN, and I hope everyone has got the chance to watch it. Yeah,
Brian Mudryk, once again, he was in Brooks for the National Junior A Championship a few seasons ago when we were all there, and he's doing a great job calling those games. And we love, once again, that TSN is showing them nationally in the country because it's a lot of great talent on display. And who would have thought that Latvia would give Team Canada a tougher test than Team Sweden? But at the end of the day, the IIHF is becoming more competitive every year as all of these other countries, even across the pond, have better hockey development systems in place. And before you know it, it might be more of an even tournament at all levels across the board as the seasons continue here throughout the IIHF.
That's what we want to see, too. We don't want to see 12-1 games. I mean, they're fun, and it's great to see Canada win, but I also like to see competitive games. And, what a wake-up call for Sweden there. Other big piece of news from the week, Brandon, we saw another former AJHL player play his first NHL game, and that's the former Bonnyville Pontiac, Brinson Pasichnuk, who made his debut with the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, it's just excellent. We've talked about it now for a few weeks. We talked about the Ian Mitchell or the Dylan Holloway, Jacob Bernard Docker, Corson Kuhlman is going to be drafted. We talked about all the guys in the NCAA and the national championship game. There is a lot of exceptional AJHL talent moving on to the next level and pro. And to see another player play his first game in the league is just, again, another testament to how great the Alberta Junior Hockey League is and how many great players they continue to produce as the seasons continue.
Excellent stuff. It's a week of mixed emotions for sure in the AJHL. The end is near. Some teams having to bow out early, but there are some positive stories out there, which is great to see. Let's get to our first guest, our only guest of this week, and that is Bandits captain Taylor Mccarr. Our guest this week on Around the AJHL is the captain of the Brooks Bandits, Taylor Mccarr. Taylor, here we are in the final 2 weeks now that we know of the season. Kind of surreal hearing that news, knowing that there's going to be like a firm end date to this year. What was it like for you guys hearing that news?
I mean, it's been a long run, and I'm very impressed with how the AJ has handled everything and how all the teams have handled everything. But it's tough to know that your season's coming to an end without playoffs and stuff like that. But I mean, we got games in, and I think we're all just really happy to get that many games in for sure.
Going through this whole season, you started, then you had to go back home, then you had to come back, and you're kind of waiting anxiously every week to see if you are going to be able to play. What's that like for the team in the group? And as the captain, how do you kind of tell your guys, hey, keep pushing, let's get through this, let's play these games?
Our team did a great job for sure. I mean, we're doing online Zoom workouts. I think everyone was just trying to stay in touch. I mean, like playing video games together, FaceTiming, but it's difficult for sure. Not knowing if you're going to come back or not knowing if you might not play again, might be the last time you throw on a Brooks jersey. But I think we did a pretty good job, and the boys just came right back together at the second camp there and gelled really well.
How do you look back on this season, Taylor, compared to other seasons that were more of a normal season with a start and a finish? Although last year was just as crazy with the playoffs being taken away. But like, what did you learn from this year?
Just adversity and resiliency. Like, I mean, you got to push through those tough times. Anywhere you could find ice, I mean, you'd go. Anytime you find a workout, you'd go. And it really taught everyone some patience, and it was good for a lot of people. But I mean, it would have been nice to have a normal year for sure.
And then, like, personally for yourself, where do you see yourself where your game really took the next step this year?
I just think maturing. on and off the ice. Being that captain leadership role taught me a lot, how to treat guys. I mean, how to play, talk to refs, and just overall just want to work on every part of my game. But yeah.
Would you say that there was like an added component to being a captain of this year's team compared to other years where like part of your job was keeping everyone's probably spirits up down in the dressing room when things seemed like it was just getting crazy?
Right. I know that's a big part, but it's also not just me. We got the 3 assistant captains here in Brooks, and they did a great job as well. And yeah, you got to answer a lot of questions. The boys will come to you, but I mean, the whole team does a great job with keeping everyone in the loop, and everyone brings everyone's spirits up. We're always talking to each other. I don't think there's a guy no one likes on the team for sure, and we're all just good buddies. So,
talk about playing in Brooks, one of the premier franchises across the country. You played 3 seasons nearly now there. What would you say to people that are looking around in the AJHL and deciding where to play? What would you tell them about Brooks?
It's just a professional system. Like you'll walk in, you see the facility is one thing, but how we treat the players, how everything's handled, how we go about the community, going to schools, stuff like that. It's tier 1 level. And I mean, if you're looking to play a professional type of organization and really go for that shot at what you want to do or what you want to do in your hockey career, Brooks is definitely a great spot for that.
And that really starts from the top down. Your head coach, Ryan Papuana, who's been with you this entire journey. Was there anything this year that he said to you that really resonated with you?
I mean, a lot of stuff he'll say in the past years, but just take every moment out of each day we have. You never know when your last day is going to be your last. So we got guys staying on the ice for an extra hour, half an hour working on their stuff. So I think that's what's touched a lot of guys, and we all just take that into account.
Taylor, you're committed to the University of Massachusetts. Were you able to keep up with their successes as of late? And what have your conversations been with them?
Oh yeah, I've been congratulating the coaches. It's really cool to see. I mean, taking that program from very little wins to obviously a national title, which is amazing. And yeah, just congratulating them, and I'm excited to step in.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch this year's tournament and see UMass, the redemption there, especially with last year being canceled, the college hockey playoffs were. But that's just a program that has just grown and grown by huge leaps and bounds. How excited are you to head to Amherst and be part of that growth?
I'm ecstatic for that. I mean, watching my brother go through it, and even Oliver Chow, who was on the Brooks Bandits, it's just the coaches are great. The recruiting is great, and when I went and visited, it took me to a whole nother level of like, wow, this is something else. I really want to play here. So just drove me to even want to play college hockey more.
And I don't know if this has ever been like, if you've ever thought about this, but I heard Greg Carville, the head coach, an interview with him, and just the way he runs things, it sort of reminded me a little bit of Pap. Do you think there's a bit of a comparison there?
Oh, for sure. He can definitely be hard on you, and that's what I like in a coach for sure. And just keeping it straightforward. But yeah, he has a lot of tendencies the same as Pap, which I resonate with.
Going into the final weekend here, final weekends of this season, what do you hope to accomplish with your teammates in your final games here of this season?
Just want to be able to win and have some fun with the guys. I mean, it's a tough season. Everyone moving on without playoffs, and it's kind of hard to, we're just going to have to get motivated to not play for something, but getting some last wins out here, and I think just having a good time with the guys.
Taylor, I got to ask you about your teammate, Ethan Lund. This is a guy, played minor hockey with him. You and Lundy are the 2 longest tenured Bandits on this year's roster. What can you tell us about the type of, not only player Ethan is, but the type of person he is?
Oh, he's a great guy. Like, I've always played with him. He's, just a great team guy. Anyone on our team could go walk up to him and ask him anything. And he's the most open, honest guy. You'll learn a lot from him. He'll tell you on the ice. He'll be like, "Hey, you can do this better," and stuff like that. But he's gonna have a great career. He's a good guy.
Cool. Taylor, what's your review of the mustache? Keep it, get rid of it. What kind of advice can you give me here?
I'm thinking keep it maybe. As long as you got no goatee, I'm liking it. Yeah, keep that mustache.
So I've been called Flanders. I've been called Jason Sudeikis from Ted Lasso. I don't know if there's any more that you guys can think of, but I'll take them.
You got a face for radio, Nathan. You got a face for radio.
Oh, only mother would love.
Awesome. One final one for me, Taylor. I just having you here and your family, getting to know them with your brother playing here, and obviously we've gotten to know your parents. It seems like such a great bond you have with your family that I think a lot of people are noticing how important. And I can already know what the answer is to this, but how important has family been for your development?
Oh, it's massive. Like everyone's family plays a part, but yeah, Kale and I, like, we can't thank our parents enough for developing us, teaching us the right ways. I mean, just putting a good head on our shoulders, I think, and you can only thank them enough. I mean, it's so hard to talk about because of your parents, but yeah, it's a huge key in the steps to growing up and maturing.
Awesome. Well, continued success. Looking forward to seeing how this the final weekends wrap up here, Taylor. But it's been a pleasure watching you as a Brooks Bandit, and we really appreciate you doing this.
Thanks very much, Nate. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Bandits captain Taylor Mccarr for joining us on episode 8 of Around the AJHL. Brandon, another good episode for this week. We'll only have one more week of the season after this. Before we go, I got to get your thoughts on the mustache. Bandits coach has said I'm not allowed to shave it until the end of the season. I've been called Ted Lasso, Ned Flanders. Anything come to your mind?
No, actually, I thought it looked good when I jumped on the Zoom call. I was nice about it. No, I think it looks great. Keep it, because from a guy who cannot grow one that looks nowhere near what yours looks like, I'm kind of jealous. So I'm going to give you a thumbs up and say, keep it going.
Appreciate it, man. Great episode today, Brandon, and looking forward to next week's.
Yeah, you bet. Only 6 teams remain right now in the AJ: Sherwood Park, Grand Prairie, Brooks, Olds, and then Spruce Grove and Drayton Valley.
Yep, it's going to be fun for the next 2 weekends to watch the remainder of the season, and hoping to things turning around here. For Brandon Ewan Cheshin, I'm Nathan Crosby. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.